Salute to Knicks Nation. We are here on this Sunday night, 6:35 p.m., and we just watched the New York Knicks go into Arizona and take on the Phoenix Suns. You know, going into this game, I thought it was going to be a good one. It started off a little slow, but you had Julius Randle and Quentin Grimes really getting after it in the first quarter to keep this game close. And even when Derrick Rose came in to act as that catalyst, because Jalen Brunson didn't have it going in the first quarter, you thought Derrick Rose and everyone was going to just continue to make this a close game. There was actually some sort of optimistic hope in my veins. I thought the Knicks were going to be able to pull this one out. Going into the second quarter, you still have the second unit, and Derrick Rose is still giving you that energy, but unfortunately, he would leave with a toe injury. Jalen Brunson would come back in, and the Knicks would still stay in that game. The Knicks were only down by 2 points going into the half. But then comes, it feels like it just feels like an old omen at this point, the third quarter of doom, and especially on this West Coast trip when they're facing good caliber teams, playoff caliber teams like the Golden State Warriors, even though they're going through a slump, and now the Phoenix Suns. And you see why the Phoenix Suns are good. Their defense is just on another level. Knicks would come out in the third quarter. You thought they were going to be able to keep. They had it. They tied the game at one point, but then you just get back to back threes by Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, and then Devin Booker to really start to blow the doors open and just take that lead throughout the rest of the night. And then the Knicks would just get into the fourth quarter, and you see, without Derrick Rose, man, leading that second unit, the second unit started to get into some disarray, as our guy Walt Clyde Frazier would say. And fourth quarter would come around the 6-minute mark. Tiz would just put the reserves in, and that's all she wrote. And the Knicks would eventually just end up closing this game out 116-95, where the Phoenix Suns win. This game doesn't even deserve theme music. That's why there's no theme music, no losing music. Obviously, no winning music after this one. But hey, it is what it is for this game. And on to the next one. We got OKC tomorrow. But hey, Knicks Nation, salute to Knicks Nation. Salute to everyone who's in the chat right now watching us live post-game. KnicksFanTV post-game live with you. I got my guy Chris LeBron on the other side. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. This show is sponsored by Manscaped. And tonight, we're only taking calls through the Discord. So if you want to make sure to call in, make sure to go through the Discord. TM, if you could just throw that link, just pin it at the top so that way people know how to get to the Discord. That'd be great. So let's get into it, man. Chris, how you doing, bro? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. The second half was very frustrating, man, and especially that third quarter, man. It just feels like that's just like, it's always the third quarter. It's always the third quarter that gives us trouble. So it's just frustrating loss because it felt like after the first half that we're in this. Obviously, there's no CP3, no Cam Johnson for them. So like, okay, we maybe we got this. And then you hear about Derrick Rose with the toe, and it's like, oh man, then it just fell apart. Wide open threes, the usual. It feels like the usual this year. Leaving guys wide open. Torian Craig's hitting threes. Campaign's looking like CP3. Like it was a mess in the second half, man. We just could not get a bucket. The offense just very stagnant, and it was a tough second half, man.
Tough loss. And, you thought the Knicks could come in today. You thought we were going to get another break because the Knicks didn't have Nikola Jokic earlier this week when we played the Denver Nuggets. And then today, you don't have no Chris Paul. CP3 is out. But, hey, Devin Booker decided to show up, man. Devin Booker decided to hit. What did he end the game with? I think he had 5 threes today. Yeah, he hit 5 of 8 threes
today. But the first half, they had him. Like, they had him in check. Man. They had him in check.
But hey, this is where when you talk about those upper echelon players, they just know how to figure it out, right? On the flip side, they're figuring it out. Campaign was shooting effectively today and efficiently. Devin Booker, you had DeAndre Ayton really, you saw Mitchell Robinson. He came back from injury today. He was a week and a half. He was out of it. But guarding DeAndre Ayton the first game back was a little tough for him. You saw that he couldn't even block shots that he's so used to doing. He was just missing them, man, by we're talking about by inches at this point, that he was just missing them. And it was just no Cam Reddish. You have Quentin Grimes back out there. We're going to talk about Quentin Grimes. We're going to talk about him later in the show. I like what I saw from him today. But when you look at this, the only guy that really showed up, and he didn't even show up in the first quarter, was Jalen Brunson. So I look at Jalen Brunson, man. This is the type of player where you see in the third quarter, you're looking for some sort of life. You're looking for some sort of answers. He did not shoot well in the first half, but he finished the game 11 for 21, got you 27 points. He kept getting to the free throw line.
Yeah.
just looking for life, man. And outside of Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle fell off a cliff. RJ Barrett, another guy who he was able to get to the line, but struggling to find a shot. Jalen Brunson was really that only guy. And Derrick Rose, man. Derrick Rose, when he came in, he was 3 for 5, but left with a toe injury today. And it's just our point guards did it. Everybody else couldn't. That's honestly what I took away from this game. That's my big takeaway from this game. Our point guards were able to figure out some way, whether it was Derrick Rose in the first half and Jalen Brunson in the second half. But outside of that, it was tough, man. It was a tough watch. What were some of your what were some of the things that you honed in on watching this game today that you could say was a takeaway?
Well, like you hit it on the head. The guards were essentially the offense. Like it just looked like they were just so sluggish at times. Like it just felt like the offense was not moving at all. Like you got nothing from RJ just continues his struggles, and I know he's sick and all that, but it just feels like it's constant. Like he's getting the thing is he's getting to the basket, but he's not finishing. He just can't seem to finish and all that, and the shot is just. A lot of good shots too, but he just couldn't find it. Could not go down, and it's been an issue, especially on this West Coast trip and all that. But once Rose got hurt, I mean, Rose was doing his thing. He was maybe get to the cup, hit a couple threes, but it's just like once he was out, it was like, okay, who else is going to pick up the offense? Because Toppin didn't. I don't think he scored today. Hartenstein didn't give you anything. So someone had to pick it up, and it looked like it was going to be D Rose. Mm-hmm. But once he went down. That essentially, and as you see, he goes out and can't find the offense. And the third quarter was just abysmal on offense. And that's when you knew it was just, okay, this is bad. And like Brunson had a good third quarter too. I think he had 11 points, 13 points in the third quarter, but that was it.
Yep.
Nobody else was able to do anything. And then that's when Phoenix got hot. And once you saw them hit, they had a couple times where they hit back-to-back threes, and I was like, oh, okay, It's coming. It's coming, and it happened. We just got no production from guys that we need production from. And like we mentioned, talk about Grimes later, but at least that's the one thing we can be excited about, that he looked quick. He looked, spriteful, everything. He looked like the Grimes that we've been waiting for. So that's the one. I mean, tough loss, but the one takeaway is his. He looked right. He had 8 assists, 10 points. He didn't shoot the ball great, but at least the shot looked good. He got that lift on his jumper. Which is very promising, going forward. So, like I said, we couldn't find a buck. I mean, the Randle in the post jump pass never works, and he continues to do it. He does it all the time, and like the defense is like, okay, right here, boom, and it gets intercepted, and it's like it happens all the time, and it just that infuriates me. But yeah, we just could not get anyone else other than Brunson to get going.
It comes down to good plays. Like there was a shot, and I'm not gonna bash Randall today because it was just an entire team effort that not a lot of people showed up.
No,
but there was another one. There was another one by Randall where you're just looking for from everybody whether it's quickly going east to west at the top of the key, and we're asking him to drive. That it's you're looking for Hartenstein who started the game, got 3 minutes. Got 2 quick fouls, had to be pulled out, right? And then you bring Mitch back in, who you see why Tiswan coming off the bench, because he knew he needed to work his way back in there. And even Hartenstein didn't play that many minutes today. He only got 15. Yeah. But Tibbs is like, I need to go with my rim protection because Hartenstein is just, collecting fouls. He's not defensively. He's just he tries, man. The effort is there, but he's just not like Mitch. He's not like Sims when it comes to the recovery and being able to guard guys on the perimeter or even getting back to his assignment in the paint. And it's just difficult. And when you look at the center rotation and then you watch Phoenix play and you just see that they're either able to draw everybody out on the 3 and then open something in the paint and just find everyone on the Phoenix Suns. This is something I wish the Knicks would do. It's just everyone's continuously moving off ball, and you just see that they're finding guys attacking the lane and getting easy shots at the rim. And then when the Knicks have to then start focusing on guys who are trying to attack the rim, 3-pointers start to get open. I mean, I just remember Torrey Craig just wide open in the 3, and that I'm like, what is happening? What are you all doing? Just
insane.
Where's the simple rotation?
Oh my god! Oh my god, Alex! Like, how many times has Torian Craig opened today? It felt like too too many, and it's just been a constant with the 3-point defense. It's just been that way all year, where guys are wide open all the time. It just doesn't make sense. And the Suns probably could have won by 30 plus, because they missed a lot
Oh,
of wide open threes too.
they
So they
did.
really could have just really blown us out the gym. But it's just been a constant with the 3-point defense. Like it's just really, it's puzzling at times how bad the 3-point defense is.
And the thing is that I know the Suns finished with a better 3-point shooting percentage with 43.6%, but the Knicks did like the Suns weren't shooting that great. They were shooting like 36, 38% throughout most of the game, and they just caught, as you mentioned, they caught fire in the third. But this is just something I'm looking for the Knicks to do, man, is just, can we just look for a simple ball movement? And that's all the Suns did today, was just look for simple ball movement. And they just attack the paint. They just do such simple. It's just so simple, man. They make it look so easy. And then on top of that, their defense is just, it's smothering. They make sure they're on their assignments. That defense
Yeah.
is on the string. And this is
Mm-hmm.
why they go to the playoffs. This is why you see under Monty Williams, this is why they keep going to the playoffs, is when you watch defenses like that. Even Wally said it on during the broadcast towards the end of the game, that if the Knicks want to be able to compete at such a high level, they're going to need to play top-notch defense. They need to make crisper rotations. They need to make sure it's just simple stuff like that. But I also look when it comes to the defensive rotations and stuff like that, and it seems like everybody is sick. You even heard Randall, I forget earlier this week, where he was like, or you saw him sipping tea. Even JD mentioned in the last post game against the Warriors. I'm wondering if everyone's sick. What's happening? Is everyone just catching a cold right now? Is this why everyone's playing a little lethargic? But regardless, you see Randall, even when he was playing sick against Denver, he still had a good game. So
yeah, there's no excuse.
If you're playing sick, man, and you're on the court, I'm expecting some sort of production. You know what I mean?
It's that simple. It's that simple, Alex. If you're on the court, yes, we understand. There's players are injured, there's players are sick. But if you're on the court, you're ready to go. You got to be able to produce. And they did look very lethargic. They did look slow. They did look out of sync and all that. But that's not excuse. Like, the Suns are missing a bunch of guys, right now. So there's just no excuse. Like, it just doesn't make sense what's going on right now. It just, like I said, and it just coming out the second half, the adjustments just weren't made, and it's just. I just don't get it at times. I just don't get it. They were in this game. It felt like this could have been a close game, and it just the third quarter, like we mentioned before, it just got way out of hand. Especially on defense. I don't know, man. It's just very frustrating.
Very frustrating, man. It's a very frustrating game, and hopefully they're able to bounce back against OKC. It'd be nice for them to end this West Coast trip 3-2. I get that they played the Warriors, they played the reigning champs. You're playing a championship contending team in the Phoenix Suns. But OKC, they just demolished us back in our own gym. You got to go back and show some sort of life and be ready, because that is tomorrow. So we're talking about another back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be ready. Hopefully, they got to be ready for that game, because you can't have another performance where you see tonight where it's 116-95. I get that it's a West Coast trip.
Mm-hmm.
Guys start to fatigue towards the end. You still got to show effort. You still got to knock your shots. This is tough. If you want to win, you got to do it. But when it comes back, I want to actually get back to the defense. Tom Thibodeau, I got to know what Tom's thinking, man, because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the wide open threes. And I know he loves his drop coverage. I know he's trying to protect the paint. But we keep getting demolished by 3-point shooting, even if it's a bad 3-point shooting team. So don't you think that the drop coverage scheme has to change at some point? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, something's got to change. It's been like this for a while. Like for a year and a half, it's feel like with the defense. So like it has to change. And I know he doesn't have some of the the perimeter defenders and all that, but it's just something he's not figuring out, because it's been an issue since last year. It was an issue big time last year, and we're seeing it again this year. And that's the one thing I'm not big on, like the Tibbs, letting go and all that, but that's the one thing I harp on, is like, why haven't you made the adjustments with that? Because that's like a glaring issue. like since last
Right.
season. Like, and it's coming in fruition again this season. So why aren't you making those adjustments? You know, it just it mind boggles me why he has not made the adjustments this year. Like, and I know adding Cam, obviously we didn't have Cam, and that kind of
Mhm.
hurt. But it's even with Cam, this we've seen this type of issues on the perimeter. So like, I just don't get what adjustment he's not making because it's a glaring issue. Like we're just letting guys just shoot threes wide open, and it's just like it's infuriating. It's infuriating.
On the defensive end is infuriating, and I also look on the offensive end too. You know, I mean, I look at Hartenstein, and I'm looking for him to be more of the passing big that we heard about. You know, that was advertised this offseason. I
Yeah.
feel that when we're looking at players' skill sets and their strengths, I feel that sometimes we're going away from that. Yes, we know guys like Randall, Brunson, RJ love to attack downhill. So can
Mhm.
Derrick Rose. We know quickly's a shoot. We know quickly's a shooter. But I even look at Obi Toppin too, man, because Obi is a really good cutter. I don't think we get him enough cutting. And I understand that rebounding is important and stuff like that. And I think he's been doing a good job not constantly leaking out and trying to help on the boards
Yeah.
and being judicious at that standpoint. But I'm looking for how do you make sure like a guy like Hartenstein gets involved in the offense and we get to see some of his strengths and really open it up, right? You know that he's good on the short roll and he can look for guys who are cutting. I mean, we saw at the beginning how he was giving some dimes when we saw against Memphis, right?
Yeah,
And I'm just
yeah,
looking
yeah.
like how do you get guys offensively involved and just get that spark because we watch this team, we see a good amount of pick and roll, whether it's with our centers and sometimes our power forwards. And if it's Randall, it's sometimes it's mostly the pick and pop.
Yeah.
Same thing with Obi. You know, you see the centers, it's a pick and roll. I'm just looking for some sort of diversity in getting guys acclimated to some sort of offense. I know that's a little much asking for Tibbs. He's not really the offensive guy,
It's
but I feel that if you're looking for a team that's looking to put up shots and you're trying to compete, you got to figure out how to utilize everyone's skill set to get them going.
yeah, like, and they're going against Phoenix team. I think Phoenix is one of the worst 3-point defending teams in the league. So like, you got to be able to move. You know, that guy's cutting. You know, so you can get maybe some wide open threes. That I didn't see any of that. Like I didn't see any of that today. You didn't see Obi cut. I don't remember seeing Obi cut to the basket at all. It just I didn't get the strategy today at all. Like you got to be able to attack them on the perimeter. I know they got Mikal Bridges is one of the best defenders, but like other than that, they don't they don't have any other one that you can really be scared of on the perimeter defending. So why wasn't there more slashing so to be able to kick back and hit some more threes and all that? I don't know. I just did not get the strategy with Tibbs today, and it was just like this is a game that they, like I said, they were in it, and then they whatever happened in the second half, it just I don't get no adjustments were made at all, and it's just they got to figure out because the offense is just it's just way too like there's times where there's 5 seconds at the clock and they're still at the 3-point line trying to figure something out. And it seems like it's seen that way too much this season. So like it's a lot. It's a lot, to ask for, for stuff like that. But you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to be able to be creative when you're playing a team like this.
For sure. Absolutely. And you know what? Let's hit that reset. Dan, let's hit that reset screen. All right, let's get back to it. Salute to Knicks Nation. Thank you for tapping in for a Knicks Fan TV post game live. It is your guy, Alex Terrace, aka the Tradcaster, with Chris LeBron on the other side. We are taking calls tonight via the Discord only. So if you want to call in, make sure to hit that link that TM graciously pinned to the top of the chat. And we also got a super chat. Shout out to Steve Verna with the $20 super chat. Says Brunson had it going in the third. Randall takes it upon himself. Shoots a three, miss, Suns score. Randall turns it over, Suns score. Booker 3, 11-0 run. Knicks go from down 6 to down 17, all off 2 bad possessions by Randall. Yeah, man. Look, it comes down to high IQ basketball play, and you need to be playing when you're playing top teams, man. It comes down to just making simple basketball plays, whether it's the pump fake jump and just trying to pass it out from the post. It's all these like little things, man, that you don't even need to do. It's just little things. But you know what? You know what, Chris? We do have a caller on the line. We got James Harris in the chat. So, James, we're going to bring you on to the show. And, James, unmute your mic and let us know what some of your takes are, man. James Harris, what's going on?
What's up, James?
And James is not in the chat. So James hopped out and went back to the lounge. Hold up. Let's see if we get it. Let's see what happens. James, you there?
Little things, man.
Yep, I'm here. How's it going?
It's just little.
Good, James. Just mute us back, and then you can get it going.
On the line, we got James Harris in the chat. James, we're going to bring you on to the show. And James, unmute your mic and let us know what some of your takes are, man. James Harris,
James,
what's going on?
You got to mute it, man. Come on, guys. When I bring you on, you gotta have it mute. You know, CP said we gotta be in full season form. You know, the Knicks may be acting like they're in preseason mode sometimes throughout the season, but you guys gotta be ready. You guys gotta be ready for it. James, we're gonna give you one more shot. James, you ready?
James Harris in the chat.
Ready.
All right, James. All right, James, you're not ready. So we're gonna go with the official Michael. What's going on, Mike? Unmute your mic and let's hear what you got to say. What's going on, Mike? Mike, you there? And it seems like Mike is not ready. Oh my goodness gracious, people!
Can you hear me?
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Hey, don't throw me away yet.
All right, Mike. Don't worry. What's going on, Mike? How you doing?
What's up,
Man,
Mike?
I watched that game today, and I don't know what Tibbs is doing right, but he's doing a lot of it. You know, I look at Obi over on that corner. You know, they're not throwing him the ball anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what he had, 4 shots.
Yeah, he had about 4 shots today.
I mean, what's the use? You know, if we could get Tibbs out, and I don't think we can. You know, I hope that they go ahead and trade him. Hey, he's looking bad, man. I mean, he's looking bad. I wish I had his number. I'd call him up and tell him. I mean, but it's not like he's not hustling. It's just that it's not working out for him.
Yeah, I mean, I will get Obi, man. I'm like, I agree. I think he needs more minutes. I think the 4 shots is not enough for him, and he only had 1 shot in the first half, and you know, I would like to see him get more.
Yeah, I mean, only 4 shots. He didn't look confident.
Is that coaching or what?
Yeah, it is coaching, and you know what? Appreciate the call, Mike. But look, for Obi, we need to see him. We need to see more from Obi. We need to see more from Tibbs trying to get him activated. I mean, 4 shots today just wasn't enough. So,
yeah, he wasn't confident today. He didn't look like he was confident at all, and just, you know, the lack of minutes too is hurting him too. You know, with Randall, you know, in front of him, it's always going to be tough for him to get in rhythm without those minutes. I mean, 16 minutes isn't enough for him to get, you know, acclimated into the offense. You know.
Yeah, I don't think it was enough for him to get acclimated into the offense. And the thing is that we need to see, when we see Obi out there, you know, we want to see him just make sure that he gets to some offensive rhythm, and he didn't even get that in the first half. I mean, only 1 shot in the first half, yet this is your best 3-point shooter on the team. This is your best guy who can cut off ball. This is the guy who's looking to just do, like, everything you ask for. Like, Tibbs has been asking everything of this guy, whether it's to improve on his rebounding, improve on his defense, improve on his 3-point shooting. And, you know, we were looking for him to we're just looking for him to just get in some sort of rhythm, and we're not getting that, man. There's got to be some sort of way where you're looking for your guy to get back into some sort of rhythm, especially when he's probably one of the more efficient players coming off the bench and has been so. Yeah, he struggled these last 2 games, but we know that he's a guy that works off ball efficiently, and you have to figure out some way to get him going. Maybe not having Derrick Rose today was that issue, but you got to make sure you can get him involved in some way, and maybe that's asking Brunson, right? You put Brunson out there. We did see Brunson get out there as well, but got to ask your point guard to make sure you get him involved, because Obi can be a threat in that manner. All right. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%, man. And that's been my thing with Obi. And this is going back to college, right? He thrives off point guard play, like playing, you know, be able to use him in transition. I just, with the Knicks, they just don't, it doesn't seem like they know how, Tibbs doesn't know how to use him. like the way to use him is moving in transition and all that, and having him cut, and it's just like they're just having him stay at the 3-point line and just and try to create. He's not a creator. He's never been a creator. Like it just Tibbs. That's been my thing with Tibbs is he has not figured out how to use Obi Toppin, and it's so obvious how to use Obi Toppin, but yet they just can't figure it out. And he's worked well, obviously, with Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose has obviously, been hurt, the last year or so, but it's just frustrating, with Obi because there is something there, and I've had my issues with Obi and all that as far as like his ceiling and all that, but the best way to utilize him is running with them, moving in transition, have him cut and all that, set screens for him so he can, it just seems like it's simple. I've seen it since college with Dayton. Like this is what he's done. This is why he was a National Player of the Year and all that. So I just don't get it. He's not Kevin Love where he could just stand in the corner or Kyle Korver, like that's not him. I know he could shoot it and he's improved, but that's not his game. To use him to the best of his ability, you have to be able to run with him, get him in, make him make some cuts and all that, get him in transition, and they just don't do that. And he didn't do any of that today. It just frustrated with Obi, and I'm sure he's very frustrated.
I'm sure he's frustrated too, man. And hopefully, when it comes back, when looking at the tape as Tibbs likes to say, hopefully he's seeing that, hey, the guy who helps us score points in transition is not getting enough shine. But we got another caller. We got another caller with us here. All right, we're gonna give James Harris another shot. So James, I'm gonna ask you to unmute your mic. Please mute everything, and let's hear what you got to say, man.
Hey guys,
What's going on, James? How you doing, man?
What's up, James?
doing well, hanging in there after this long game. Just one thing to say, I want to see the Knicks create a win now team. I'm not a believer in the go through the draft route to build a new team. And I say that for two reasons. Number one, we have a point guard, finally. I don't want to wait, 1 or 2 more decades to get another point guard after Jalen Brunson leaves. I think we have a point guard to create a winning team. Also, I think what we'll see in the offseason is a lot of teams look at what the Utah Jazz did in how they reached the ceiling and what they could obtain in the playoffs and then decide to take a different route. So I'm thinking of teams like maybe the Bulls, the Heat, the Nets, maybe even the Clippers, all in similar situations where they haven't been able to break that ceiling and maybe think about, hey, we might want to start fresh. And in that case, the Knicks might find themselves in a situation where they could potentially get, I'm not saying they will, but possibly like a Zach LaVine or a Jimmy Butler type of caliber player. And maybe together with Jalen Brunson, they might start to have some hope in what they could get in the playoffs. So it would be great to hear your thoughts on that. And also, if they do go that route, what players on the Knicks do you see as not tradable? Because obviously we're going to have to get rid of a lot to get a player like that. So for me, obviously Brunson stays, and I would also really like to see Reddish stay. But anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Awesome. All right. And that was James on the Discord. So he said he wants to see a win now move. People, everyone in the chat, I need you to rate that call. 5 being facts, 1 being trash. Let's hear what you got to say about James's call right now. Do you think the Knicks should make a win now move, or should we continuously build through the draft? I'm sorry to tell you, James, I'm seeing a lot of tomatoes right now in the chat. Enough tomatoes to make some tomato soup. Someone get me a grilled cheese. So he said he wanted to create a win now team, and one just because we have a point guard. And what was the second one? Wow, what was the other reason he said that we need to see a win now team? We just don't want to lose for the next couple of decades.
He doesn't want to lose for 2 more decades. So
2 more decades. He doesn't want to lose for 2 more.
But
decades.
then he said Zach LaVine, and that's where he lost me. So
Okay.
he wants Zach LaVine.
He wants Zach LaVine.
He
wants to see Cam. He wants to see Zach LaVine, Cam Reddish, and Jalen Brunson on this team.
And thinks that's gonna help win us. Oh, wow, that's a lot. And Jimmy, he wanted Jimmy Butler too, but I don't know why Miami would trade Jimmy Butler. But Zach LaVine lost. He lost me at Zach LaVine and saying he wants to win with that. Like, the thing is, like, you have to go through the draft. I understand like the win now. We want to win, all right? We all, but what have we seen from a lot of the great teams in the league? What have they done? Even the Warriors. What have they done? They've gone through the draft, right? And then when they establish, they're able to get the Kevin Durant or whatever. A lot of these teams, Denver and all these like, I don't get why people want to just punt, on draft picks and all that. I never understood that. Like, we have to, and we've kind of done that. The Knicks have missed on a lot of picks and all. And I've told a lot of people, like, I think that's why we're here, where we have to get Julius Randles and try to see if Cam Reddish can pop and all that, and get Jalen Brunson's, because we have missed on so many picks, in previous that have kind of cost us now. So I just don't believe in punting, because you have to build through that's how the great teams are built. They're built through the draft and all that. And, it's just, we've missed and we've gotten some good players, but we have missed in the past big time. And it's kind of why we're here. Like I mentioned, we're patching up all these positions. And now, we're like desperate, and you have to build it a draft. I don't believe in punting on the draft. That's why I was on the draft show when we punted on the pick. Like, you could still get an AJ Griffin. There were still good players like on the board, like that you could have gotten and developed. And
Jalen Williams on OKC.
Yeah, like Jalen Williams, you could have got him. And I know he was kind of like unknown, and he kind of blossomed. Yeah, Tari Eason. I mean, Tari Eason fixed our defense in a minute. He's one of the best defenders already as a rookie. So it's like there were still players you could have gotten at the top. Jalen Duren, like we could have gotten, and maybe that saves us on spending 60 plus mil on Mitch Robinson. So I can't stand the last 2 years what they've done with the draft, and like or being too afraid to not use picks to go get your guy. I believe if you think that's your guy, go get him. I don't believe in punting on the draft and all that, like, and trying to trade everything for and especially for Zach LaVine. Like a Zach LaVine, come on now. Like I thought he was gonna say someone like Devin Booker or say SGA. You said Zach LaVine. I'm like, okay, come on now. Zach LaVine, he's a great player. But if you're saying that we got to with a championship and all that, I don't know Zach, especially with that knee. And he's kind of him. He's going back and forth for Chicago. He got benched a few nights ago. When they lost to Orlando and they lost that game. And and he has an expensive contract. So.
I agree with you, Chris. You got to build through the draft. And the other benefit when you start building through the draft is that when you re-sign your own players, it opens up that cap flexibility, right? The NBA is considered a soft cap, unlike the NFL, which is a hard cap. So in the NFL, there is a certain number you cannot exceed, right? In the NBA, there's some wiggle room. And especially when the benefit in the NBA is that they want you to retain your own draft pick. They want you to retain your own player. So you have to be able to work through the draft in order to do so. And I agree with everything that you said, man. And you're looking for the players. You get the top players through the draft. Like you look at Giannis, he was drafted. You look at Steph Curry, he was drafted. I mean, you can look at Kawhi, who was drafted by the Spurs, and they won with the Spurs. But even when you look at when he went to the Toronto Raptors, yeah, they went through they got Pascal Siakam. That's a guy who they came up through their system, and he was a big helpful key. But it's very rare where you see a team that was just built mostly on free agents win. I mean, you talk about Zach LaVine. Look at the Bulls right now. Yeah, that's a team that's built through free agency, and the Knicks have done that so many times, and it doesn't work. And I think just some of the soft factors that we don't take in consideration is that when you hear players who want to be Knicks and they want to be invested, like you hear like RJ, you hear anybody else or even Obi, even when he was emotional during draft night. Sure, having someone who's been drafted by a team and stays with a team, I feel like there's some sort of there's just some sort of ownership that you can't get when it's just a free agent who we're just paying to come in here and you're saying, hey, we're buying you to be part of this team. And there's just certain levels. Like, yeah, there's some players that can do it. Like Mel loved being a Knick, Amari loved being a Knick, but you really got to find guys through the draft. And that's where you start seeing most of the success with a lot of these teams.
100%. Look at Boston. Boston,
Boston's
they hit it.
A really good example, man.
They hit it on 2 picks. That's all you need. They hit it on 2 picks, you know, and look what we're seeing in Brooklyn. They went the other way, and look how that's gone. So, like, you going through the draft you have to look. Atlanta's having success right now. You know, we're seeing Indiana. They drafted Mathurin, and everybody loves Ben Mathurin. Like, you know, and he could be a star and all that, you know, based off 1 pick. And obviously they traded for Halliburton. You know, so like, you know, Orlando has promise because of their draft, and they're bottom standing, but like, gotta build through the draft. Alex, like, I'm so key on that. I know that's not what Knicks fans want to hear. That we want to win. I know we want to win now. I want to win now. But in order to get there, you have to build the right foundation that starts through the draft. I don't care where we pick. I don't care if we don't win the lot. You can get a good player at 8, 9, 10 where we've drafted, but we've missed and all that. But you still have to continue going through that. You can't be like, oh, we've missed on picks. We got. Oh, we're panicking. Oh, the fan base is getting us. No, we got to do no. Continue building through the draft. And you have an endless amount of picks these next few years. So one of them got hit. You have all the ammunition.
Something's got to happen.
Something's got to happen, right, Alex? Like, something's got to happen. But you have to continue going with that. If it's Leon and company, or it's who else, if possibly, you know, coming in, you know, taking over, build through the draft and just invest in your scouting department, your international scouts. I'm so big on the draft. You have to. I even do this in 2K. I just pile up picks and I just, you know, do the draft, and that's how you build it. That's how you do it. They have to go that route, not just constantly trading for the next possible guy. You know, you building through the draft, man. And there's so much talent coming in, Alex. There's so much talent coming in these next few drafts that the Knicks need to be on that and find a couple guys. They got a couple picks coming up this year. They can get the talent and move forward in the right way. You got to build through the draft.
Absolutely. And, you know, even shout out to Father Peace, who talked about the San Antonio Spurs, you know, draft Tim Duncan. You have Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, that's how they did it too, right? And yeah, I know a lot of these teams have won multiple championships, and it seems tough, but it's more often than not, it's not the way the Lakers did it with Anthony Davis and LeBron James getting the Mickey Mouse trophy. But you know what? Before we get to the next caller, the last question he did have that James did have was, what player do you see not tradable? And to be honest with you, Chris, there's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
Not on this roster.
Nope. Everyone's available.
As much as we like the guys who are on this team, as much as we like them, there's no one that's untradeable on this roster. The thing that it's not and it's no one's untradeable on this roster, but it all comes down to what is the price when you start trading. You don't want to get fleeced. You don't want to give up the entire war chest just to get one player, and you got to be smart in how you do it. But is anyone untradeable? No. That's my opinion. No.
I agree. 100%.
My opinion, no.
100%.
All right. So we're gonna go to the next. We're gonna go to the next call. We got E Crossover with us today. We got E Crossover. E Crossover. I'm gonna bring you on the show. E Crossover, make sure to unmute your mic, mute your background, and let's hear what some of your takes and your thoughts are. What's going on, E Crossover?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all hear me pretty good?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
All right, cool. Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Alex? How y'all doing today? Everything all right?
We good, man.
Yeah, man. So, you guys pretty much hit it on the nose. What I was about to say too, that a lot of these teams, man, that win championships even for the past decade, build through the draft, man. That's what you're gonna have to do. What the front office has to do, they have to hire more good scouts that can look at certain players in the draft that you could develop over time. You drafted Kevin Knox, could have got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Could have got a lot more other players, but it's all about player development at the end of the day. And that's what we're not doing, because RJ has been doing the same thing over and over, which means taking it to the basket and just not be able to finish bunnies. Somebody in that office has to literally tell them and say, look, you got to stop driving in all the time, even if you're not going. Find a way to make it easier for yourself. But he's not hitting anything at all. And people want to say, oh, he's sick. It's all about the sickness. No, he's been doing this for the past 4 years. Literally just haven't been hitting shots. And then Randall's not showing no effort on defense. This whole team just feels like one big pile of players that don't mesh offensively and defensively. Feel like they got to start trading certain players like Randall and just build. And maybe I don't know if they'll fire Tiz. I think Tibbs has been dealt a little bit of a bad hand, but he's also a culprit of him not being able to make adjustments late game or early in the game to see who's flowing, feed the hot hand. So overall, the Knicks organization got a lot to figure out because you can't stay mid all year. You can't chase free agents. You got to have a good foundation first to attract good free agents in order for your product to, to maintain its value throughout over time. The Memphis Grizzlies, they were trash for a while. They got John Moran. They drafted a guy that people didn't think was going to be good in Desmond Bane. But what happened? They knew that he was a grinder. He was going to work hard, and he's one of the best shooters in the league. That's what you need. So the Knicks need to build through that, man. I'm out. Y'all have a great night, though.
Take care. Take care.
Thank you, East Crossover. That's E Crossover on the line. What do you all think about that call by E Crossover? 5 for facts, 1 for trash. Let's know your vote in the chat right now. I thought that was a 5-star call, man. I thought that was a 5-star call.
That was a really good call. He gets it. He gets it.
Look, man, it comes through scouting. I mean, it was due different front offices. Even 3 different front offices that drafted Frank. It was Phil right before he got fired. That drafted Frank. Then Kevin Knox was.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I can't believe that
Then
still
you have
me.
Knox. Then you have Knox through Mills and Perry.
Wrong Kentucky
another
dude.
Mills and Perry. And I know RJ's struggling right now, but nothing like Knox and Frank, in my opinion.
No.
But then you also have this scouting department, who I thought has done a pretty solid job. We got, I think it's been pretty solid. You got Grimes, you got Obi, Quickly, you got McBride, Sims. I think that's been pretty solid. I know they drafted Trevor Keels this season, this past draft as well. But I thought for the most part, their draft selections have been solid, rotational players, which is honestly a step up from what we've had previously. And considering we didn't have draft picks,
Exactly,
at least we got some rotational players now that we can rely on. What are your thoughts about this front office's scouting department?
They've drafted solid dudes. They definitely have drafted solid dudes, especially where they've been placed. Where Grimes' pick last year was great. That was great, and where they got him, the value, But I've said this, it just feels like their guy is always like a pick in front. Like we even know that it always feels like the guys like are ahead of them, and it's just like the aggressiveness. You have the draft capital to do it. It just feels like they shy away too much to get their guy. And I'm on the boat. Go get your guy. And it just feels like they've been shying away. But they have drafted solid players. Jericho Sims, to me, the value of getting him was great. Where they got him in the second round. So they got some good value picks. But a lot of these guys are, going to be good role players. And you're looking for that blue chipper. And that's what they're missing is getting that blue chipper. And if they get that blue, and we've been waiting, like RJ's supposed to be that blue chip, right? I think a lot of us going into the season, we're like, okay, Brunson was solid. We know we're going to get from Randall and all that. But if RJ takes that leap that we think he can take, then we're feeling good. If he doesn't, I think this is, okay, we got to really figure out that, because if he's not the dude, and the Mitchell thing, like there was hints that they may not be feeling RJ the way we maybe fans are feeling RJ, So it's like, we have to figure out, if he's not that dude, then what's the next move? Because you're going to be mid, right? Like that was been the thing with the Knicks being mid, and that could hurt draft positioning and all that if we are a 38 to 40 win club, and you're not, so it's. They've drafted solid players, but the blue chip guy, they are still waiting to get that guy.
Absolutely. And, I think thanks to E-Crossover bringing up drafting and talking about, and let's talk about Grimes, man. Let's talk about his performance tonight, because his performance has been, I thought it was a solid performance. I thought it was good to see him finally back on the court. Yes, he shot 4 for 10 from the field and only made 1 3-pointer today, but he got you 10 points. The 8 assists is what really stands out, and the 5 rebounds, man. And for a guy who we didn't really get confirmation, CP confirmed it. Wally said it. Plantar fasciitis was what the injury was. Knicks were just saying it was a foot injury, but now we officially know what it was. It's how that's why you tune into KnicksFanTV, all right? because we got the intel. CP's got the intel. All right. CP told us. All right. That's why you tune in. And look, for a guy who's coming off injury, I know he got sporadic minutes the last couple of weeks, and they were trying to make sure that he's healthy and ready to go today. I thought today was a solid performance, and you just see that he just offers something. And we talk about high IQ players on this team. Talk about high IQ players. The way that he's able to continue the swing pass, right? He gets the ball, he just swings it and finds somebody in the corner. His ability to drive and just dump off passes, whether it's to Sims or anybody else who's cutting. His rotations on defense.
And we are up and away from downtown.
His ability just to shoot with confidence is much needed on this team. And look, he even went coast to coast today and finished that layup.
Yep.
Quentin Grimes, it seems like he's got that quick step today. Let's see tomorrow if he's able to play again, because once again, due to injuries, he's able to get minutes because Cam Reddish missed time today.
Yeah.
Due to a groin injury after playing against the Golden State Warriors on Friday. So I like Grimes' performance today. What were some of your thoughts about what he did today?
Man, that was so encouraging to see him. Like the first couple shots, I was like, okay, he's feeling confident, right? He's shooting that thing right, quick trigger with all that, and the lift was there, and the defense too on Book. Like Booker was struggling, and I think he started off 4-10 or whatever was that, and he was really clamping down on Book. Like he was making him work. So that was encouraging to see his play. Like I know he didn't shoot the ball great and all that, but to me, I wasn't really focused on that. Like just the shot looked good. He looked good. He looked quick on that fast break. He looked good and all that. So that to me is very encouraging to see. But if Cam comes back, that's going to be interesting to see if Cam comes back, how is his minutes going to look like? I think you have to get him more minutes. Obviously slowing down with the foot. He seems like he looks more confident with that. And I know playing your first shot, that is rough. I had it. That thing lingers for a while and all that. So I hope, they do the right, treatment for that. But he did look really good today. So that was the one bright spot, was his play, his passing and all that. He looked like an all around, he looked like the best guard on the team, today. Like he was just the passing and all that, finding guys open cuts. Like we missed, he just looked really good. So that was encouraging. He just really looked spark, and that's good going forward because we're going to need him on both ends going forward this year. So yeah, I'm really happy. He looked really good, and that's a good thing going forward.
Yeah, man. And you talk about Cam and what does that look like? I mean, this just becomes more and more of an interesting dilemma for Tom Thibodeau, where you need to consolidate this roster because he wants to have a 9-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Reddish has been playing well. I mean, Cam's defense Cam has been playing good defense. His offense, some nights it's really there, some nights it's not. But it's all dependent on how the rest of the offense is moving too for him to really get activated. And if he's playing with that second unit too, I feel like sometimes when he's playing with that second unit, he starts to really find his rhythm. But for Grimes, you just see what he does, and this is the guy that we had the reports, man. Berman said that Tibbs is fond of Grimes. I thought, and I still like today he's a starter, man. Like Evan Fournier didn't touch the court at all. We're no Cam Reddish. He goes to McBride. So I feel like it's got to be Grimes and Cam who are still in this rotation, just because both of them defensively give you a lot. They give you a lot on defense. And scoring wise, I mean, once again, even though Grimes went 4 for 10, he's still aggressive when he plays, man. And he offers other things as well when it comes to playmaking and rebounding. You got to think about those intangibles, man. You got to think about those intangibles.
Exactly.
Did you think there was anything? Would you make that Tibbs went to McBride in the third quarter over Evan Fournier? Did you make anything of that?
Oh, it just shows that it's over with Fournier. It's a wrap. It shows that, and we need to see more. Deuce looked good in preseason and all that. Like Deuce just showed that he can score. I liked him a lot coming out of the draft out of West Virginia. I thought he was a first round pick, and to get him in the second, we did the draft show, I thought that was great value getting him that late. So we need to see more Deuce. Like I said, the defense has been an issue on the perimeter, and what is Deuce? Deuce is a really good defender. So And I wonder how, with D Rose maybe being out, if we're going to see more Deuce too. So that's going to be interesting. But it's just clear as day is that we're not going to see Evan. And Evan, we maybe could have used Evan, especially in that third quarter, just maybe as an offensive spark, maybe. But it was clear as day is like, this experiment is over, even if we have injuries. Like it's clear. So I don't know how that is going to end with Evan, but it's clear that he is not going to play, for the foreseeable future. So, and you got to incorporate some of the young guys. And I've been wanting to see Deuce play more, and he looks solid too, in scoring from the outside and all that. And so, with Rose out, we'll see if we see more Deuce, with that second unit.
Yeah, I hope Derrick Rose is not out for too long, man, because we need that playmaking, and it looked like Derrick Rose was starting to get back into it, man. I mean, like I said,
he looked good too. He looked good too. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like he was starting to get into rhythm, especially on this road trip, man. It looked like he started to find his legs, and you just hate to see when a player starts to get into some rhythm that there's now a setback, and that's the worst part, man, because that second unit definitely needs a playmaker and some scoring too, especially when we'll see what happens. We'll see if McBride gets some minutes. We'll see if Evan Fournier comes back, because even Wally was talking on the broadcast. Maybe now Fournier comes out of the doghouse. When injuries happen, we'll see. I don't know.
Man.
The C McBride. He could have done that in the third quarter because we needed shooting.
Exactly. Could have easily done that, but he didn't. So that's a very telling thing.
Yep. But let's reset the show. Thank everyone for tuning in for another Knicks Fan TV post game live. Once again, Knicks lost to the Phoenix Suns 116-95. Me, Alex Harris, aka the Tradicaster, with Chris Brown on the other side. And this show is sponsored by Manscaped. All right, so gentlemen or ladies, if you want to buy your man something nice for Christmas is right around the corner. Make sure to go head over to Manscaped. Use the promo code KFTV. Get that 20% discount. Come on. Look, CP always says when it was summer, you're going from Van Gundy mode to Jordan mode. Now I'm going to say we're going from Jordan mode to Tibbs mode, all right? That's the way we're going now, so make sure to go over to Manscaped. Make sure to go buy some products, all right? All of us at KFTV have got it. Use the promo code KFTV, 20% off. Make sure to go use that promo code over at Manscaped. Yo, Chris, so look, man, another loss. I know what everyone's thinking about. We're thinking about some losses right now, and what does that mean? Do we tank? Do we pivot? We lost to the Phoenix Suns. We lost to the Golden State Warriors. Everyone, even at the beginning of the season, we still need talent on this team, and we're looking for a direction, whether we're going to peel it all back or we're going to continue to move forward. What are some draft prospects, man? Who are you seeing? Give us some intel, since you're into college hoops. You're probably paying attention very closely to the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. What's going on in that world?
Yeah, man. So I just started up a college basketball podcast, so we're heavy into the college basketball scene, and everything going to G League, OTE and all that. I mean, there's, like I mentioned before, there's so much talent, and like everyone's talking about Vic and Scoot, but like after that, you can get yourself an all-star level player and all that. So that's probably why Knicks fans are so, they're so tapped into this draft this year and like saying, we should tank and all that, and I think that's something we're going to see with teams as we get towards the trade deadline, because they want to have a chance to get Victor or Scoot that potentially. So kind of like with Zion and Ja just a few years back, like everybody wanted, to have a chance to get a Zion or Ja. So there's so much talent. I mean, Arkansas's got a few. Nick Smith, he's special. Duke's got Derek Whitehead, like he's too. You got the Thompson twins from OTE. Like there is abundance of talent. Keontae George, the kid from Baylor, he's special. Like there's just so an endless amount of talent where if you're in the top 10, you could get yourself a stud. An absolute stud, and like the endless Brandon Miller from Alabama. Like I could keep thinking of names because there's just so many good wings and all that in this class. Like there's just an abundance. So that's probably why Knicks fans are probably like, hey, if we're gonna be mid, and this is a lot of teams, a lot of probably fan base are like, if we're gonna be mid, you don't want to be in that middle. Like we've seen teams go through that, and you either burn it down and just start all over, or either you're in championship mode. Like there's no in between. If you're in between, you're going to be screwed, and you're going to get the 13th pick and all that constantly. So I could see why a lot of fans are like, hey, let's just cut ties with let's tank and all that, and be in this sweepstakes. And you never know, maybe the ping pong balls finally go our way. You never know. Like it happened before. Like I think the Pelicans had like a 5% chance to get the number one pick that year, but especially with the odds, changing, ever since that draft and all that. But so much talent, bro. There's so much talent, in the next few years, and the Knicks have a bunch of picks and all. That's why I'm all like, don't just try to trade picks to get a Jimmy Butler or like what the caller before said, or Zach LaVine, especially Zach LaVine. Like, no, don't do that. So like, there's so much talent, bro. There's endless amount of talent in this class that, the Knicks, if they're in the lottery and all, can get themselves a really good player, skilled. They need more skilled basketball players on this team. Need more skill. So the endless amount of talent in this class, it is really one of the best classes we may have seen in a while.
Okay, so that's I'm sure that's getting everyone in the chat and just getting Knicks Nation a little hype. So with the way the Knicks are going, and by the way, if you all want to call in, we're going by Discord today, so make sure to hop over to the Discord. TM was so gracious enough to leave the link in the chat on the YouTube channel, so make sure to go over there if you want to make a call in today. But Chris, right now the Knicks are. I'm just pulling up the standings and seeing where they are right now. So Knicks are currently 9th, right? They'll probably be somewhere in the teens if it were to end around here, or like somewhere on the bubble, like around the single digits, maybe 9, if they get lucky based on how the lottery goes. Where would you see? So let's say they're in the lottery between the 9 to 14, or even like somewhere later in the later teens. What are some players? I know it's super early. What are some players that you're looking at right now that's in that range that could help the Knicks?
So in that range, like I said, it is early and you just never know. But if I had to say in that range, I think he'll go later, but this is someone who's kind of being mocked out. Derek Whitehead, too. He's like 6'4". I think he'd be perfect, for the Knicks. He's strong. He just came back from an injury, but he looked good he looked good coming back. So I think he'll be all right going forward the rest of the season. Baba Miller from Florida State. I know he's a very lanky dude, and some people may be worried about that, but I think and he's out right now, so not a lot of people are going to be able to see him play because he's out for a weird suspension. The college basketball rules are weird and all that. He's out for like 15 games. He's someone that could be very intriguing if the Knicks want to take a chance on a guy that with maybe not ready right now. I know some fans don't want to do that. Like we did that with Ousmane Dieng, and people were like, no, because he's French, and we got postpartum syndrome with Frank and all that when you hear Frenchman and NBA player, So it's like, a guy like that, you could take Anthony Black, from Arkansas. There's Ware from Oregon who's a solid. Who's a big there's a few guys maybe in that range that they could take one of the Thompson to I think Ming I forgot, I keep confusing their names and all that, but the other Thompson twin who won't be the top 4, there's the one he might be in that range. So there's a few guys they could. It all depends what they're trying to look for, but to me they got to try to get one of these wings. And if they get one of the wings in that range, that would be a home run, that Arthur Kaluma is one guy I like, also from Creighton. I don't know if I think he's going to be in that late lotto range. I think he's skyrocketing. I know I see some people had him just a few weeks ago, maybe second round pick, but now he's trying to skyrocket. I think he could be someone. I love his size and all that, and his scoring ability. So there's a few guys that I like a lot, and as I'm going through the more draft stuff, by the week, there's more guys that are popping up and all that. But yeah, those are a few names that I think will be in that 8 to 12 range, possibly.
Well, hopefully the Knicks can get a little higher up and get one of those game changers. Do you think anyone in that range could be a game changer for the Knicks or for any team in general?
One of those.
Everyone says it's a deep draft. You know what I mean? So when I hear the term deep draft, and I think a lot of people do too, is that there's a potential of finding a blue chipper.
I like Derek
even further outside of the lottery.
I think Derek Whitehead, man. I think as he gets healthier, he might go higher, and that scares me because I think he might be one of those potential all-star type players. He's so strong and all that. He's like 6'4", 6'5", and all that. He's strong and all. So he's someone that if the Knicks were to get him at the 8-9 rate, I think he can blossom into potentially an all-star level player. But I think there's a chance he'll probably, as he gets healthier, I think he'll probably go higher. But I love Derek. I think Derek is special. Keontae George too. Like he's someone that's like he could be special, but he'll probably be way gone before. So that's why on Twitter you see like people like just at least get top 5 so we can get one of these guys and at least have a blue chipper that we can have some down the line. So like but Derek, Keontae, those are Derek would be. I would love Derek in New York. He would embrace it and all that. Derek, I think, would be, if we get him at 9-10, I think he could be an all-star still. There's guys that are going to be, all-star level players, even in the late lotto and all that. That's how good this class is.
Well, man, hopefully the Knicks can get somebody that's somewhere that's a game changer, because this team definitely needs it. Oh man, so
desperately, man. There's a lot of talent, man. There's a lot of talent, man. There's so much talent, man, coming in the next few years. Even they have a bunch of picks. Chris Murray, they could take late, a shooter. So there's a bunch of ways they can go, man. But it depends on their direction. I don't know what they want to do. Are they going to try to win now, or are we going to try to, rebuild? I don't know. That word's scary for some people, but that might have to be the move. But I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do right now.
We'll see, man. We'll see what we're trying to figure out. We're about to wrap up the show in a little bit, so if you want to make a call and get some of your thoughts in, make sure to do it right now. Chris, we got Oklahoma City coming up tomorrow, man. It's this is good. This is the chance for the Knicks to bounce back, finish strong. What are your thoughts about the Knicks going to this game, man? What are some of your thoughts?
Man, let's just hope we don't give up 150 points again.
Oh my goodness.
Like that was all time bad. Like hopefully they the defense is ready to go. Take that personal, that matchup, what happened, at the Garden, and come in and show them out. But OKC's been a tough team, man. Tough team, even though they don't have Chet and all that, and they're super young. I mean, I think they're by far, them and Houston are like average age is like 22, 23 years old. It's crazy how young those teams are. But we just got to come in, and defend. What happened with OKC last time, same thing that happened second half today. So we got to be able to figure that out and not let Shea do whatever he wants, because he's been doing that to every team. So let's to be fair, Shea's been doing it to good teams too. He hit a buzzer beater a few nights ago and all that. So he's been doing it to some good teams, and he's taking his game to another level. With his perimeter shooting especially. So but it's not letting anyone else cook. We can't let anyone else go off.
Shea has been on fire these last couple of games. Like, my goodness. I mean, they lost. So what was it? They lost to the Grizzlies last game. He only scored 15 points, but before then, and starting from playing against Detroit, he was averaging. He got 33 points, 39 points, 20 points, 37, 37, 42. And even before the 18 points against Milwaukee, he had 37 against Denver and 34 against Orlando. This guy's just been on fire, man. He's been averaging, what is he averaging? He's averaging 31 points right now in this season.
He's top 4 in
averaging
scoring
31
right now.
points.
Yeah, his perimeter shooting has just been, it's taken another step. Like he's so special. And the Clippers are still irritated that they had to get rid of him. They did not want it. Doc did not want to get rid of him. And we're seeing why, because they saw the future. Right? They went in, tried to make the trade and all that. And that's another team, right? They making trades and all that. Well, they had a nice core, and what'd they do? And look at them now. They haven't won a championship. They've been to a conference finals. That's it. That's as far as they've gone. So it shows that going through the draft, and OKC has a bunch of picks, and they're going to be in the Wemby possibly sweepstakes next year, and they got Chet coming back next year. So, and their future's bright. We're looking at a lot of teams like that, so.
Absolutely. I mean, and the Clippers are another example where you're just trying to buy chips, and I mean, you can look at Brooklyn too, where you're just, you mortgage all the players that you developed and stuff like that, and then you're going through turmoil right now. Both those teams, the little brothers of both cities are playing teams right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers being 7th and the Nets being 10th, but building through the draft is so important, man. In every sport, you got to build through the draft.
Exactly,
In every
man.
sport, you got to build through the draft. I don't know about baseball. Baseball, it seems like it just depending if you got the money, you can get it. But I think still, like to even a certain degree in baseball, drafting is big and key.
Exactly. Even Houston, look at the Astros. There, a lot of their pieces are their guys. And then
the Astros.
Yeah, we don't talk. I know that, but like I even say with the Yankees, like the Yankees, we need to do better with our farm system and all that. Play the young guys. They so scared to play the young guys. They're another team, but we don't want to talk about the Yankees right now.
Hey, as Sam said when I did the game of the week preview, you gotta let some of the guys, be able to explore like who they are as players in this league, and they need the minutes. And that's where when you watch this team, we ask the same thing. You watch Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman over on the Warriors. Granted, they still have their top players over there and they're just fresh off of a championship victory.
Yeah,
you see how frustrating it can be when guys are coming into the league and they're asked to be role players and not really try to establish themselves and figure out what they can be into this league. And sometimes
100%.
sometimes, they could just be role players in the end, but sometimes you can miss out and be like, wow, what if we actually gave them a chance and see what happens? And that's the thing. You don't want to be the team that's like, what if we gave him a chance? Because that's even worse. That's the worst feeling.
Yeah,
that's the worst feeling.
Exactly. Yeah, you just got to see. You got to see. Look at Utah's letting Colin Sexton, Laurie Marketing. People gave up on Laurie Marketing. Tough system in Chicago.
Utah.
But Utah, these players are allowed to flourish and all that, and just play. And look at Utah. They have the players they got in return for Donovan and Rudy. They got good players in return. They just weren't able to play their the role that they should have been playing and their respective team. And look at them now, like they're the top seed in the West. Whether it's for real or not, they are the top seed in the West right now. So. We see that a lot with players, a lot of young players. The Lakers, they get rid of all their young guys. Look at Brandon Ingram. I don't know why they traded Brandon Ingram. It should have been Kuzma, but even Kuzma. Look at Kuzma now. Like Kuzma, everybody was getting on Kuzma. Everybody's getting on. He was getting killed.
He was Hollywood,
roasted.
Man. He was Hollywood.
Yeah.
He was Hollywood.
Like that's his style and all that.
That's the reason why people get on Kuzma, because he's Hollywood.
But look at him now. He's getting 20 rebound games, 18 to 10. Like BI's averaging 24. Someone think that it could be an all NBA guy. Sometimes you gotta be patient. I know it's tough, but you got develop your young guys, man.
Even the Lakers, man, when they traded everybody for LeBron and AD, trade everyone for AD. I mean, AD, to create that LeBron AD team. When they trade everybody for AD, Lonzo's a good player. Brandon Ingram's a good player. You just see, even Josh Hart. Josh Hart is doing his thing out in Portland right now. You gotta give some time for some of these guys to come around and see what they can do. But
patience is very lacking in the NBA. That's the problem.
Absolutely. But I think this is a good place to wrap it. Thank you to Knicks Nation for tuning in and for supporting us. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. All right. Had to cover for CP today. He's on his way back from the West Coast. He was out there represented us well at that Warriors game. Even though the Knicks lost, he was still represented us well, representing us out in Cali. Thank you to Knicks Nation for tuning in for another Knicks Fan TV post-game live. Unfortunately, the Knicks had to lose this one 116-95 to the Phoenix Suns. But make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. If you want to go head over to Manscaped to go buy some of their products, make sure to use the promo code KFTV. All right. And when you watch these videos, make sure to share them, hit the like button, cut them up, tell everybody. You sharing these videos and telling everyone about Knicks Fan TV helps us continue to grow and to improve the content on this channel. Also, after you watch this show, you can also go over to KnicksFanTV.com and catch KFTV Remy's recaps. He recaps every single game. All right. And we also got a bunch of other great writers over there as well. We got Jeff, Chip, Jalen, Luke, Mike. I contribute over there as well. So make sure to go check out KnicksFanTV.com. And yeah, that's all we got today. Hope we'll be back tomorrow where the Knicks take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. CP should be back in the pilot seat, and we'll catch you tomorrow. All right. Salute to Knicks Nation. Salute to all the mods. Salute to the chat. Salute to all of you. We out.